Shalom, welcome to Out of Africa Torah session. My name is Tatra Cohen, and this week we are on the Torah portion, Yitro. Of course, this is also famously known as Jethro. Jethro, the famous Jethro, the father-in-law to Moses, the servant of Adonai. Mind you, last week we were looking at the Torah portion again, which pointed to another scene according to the legend, according also to our fathers, our forefathers and our sages, who tell us that there was a character actually by the name Nakshon who managed to change the entire mob and turn them towards God. And he never said a word, surprisingly. His action only towards God managed to change everyone's mind towards God, and eventually the people were aligned to do what God wanted them to do. So today we look at Yitro. What did Yitro do? And indeed, a number of good lessons which can be learned from what Yitro did. But today I would like to focus on just few things, especially towards Yitro. Of course, this Torah portion also talks about the 2 tablets of stone, which we find the 10 words written in them. And we see this is where the people actually made at first they made a universal commitment to say, we will do whatever the Lord has said, and we will understand. And our rabbis tell us a lot concerning that. But today let me just talk in few minutes concerning Yitro. It's really a great personality and a lot of things which we find ourselves learning from him. Now, the Torah portion opens in these words. The moment Yitro heard about what God had done to Moses, his son-in-law, and also to Israel, his people, immediately he started off to follow them, to go and meet them. This was a great father-in-law. I'm sure whoever might have such a father-in-law, you will be built with so much wisdom. He only meant for the best for his daughter as well as also for his son-in-law. Now we are told upon arrival, he started noticing a number of things, and him being a man of wisdom, he saw some of the things were not going as well as, as he would have thought would have gone. And this is why I like most elderly people. They come with a lot of wisdom. Of course, this doesn't mean that they were not elderly people. Someone from somewhere may actually see certain things in a different way than the indigenous people, the native people who were like. So you may not really blame the people who were on the ground, but the good thing is God is so diverse, so he brings someone from somewhere who can actually see and interpret things in a much different and clear way. This is exactly what Yitro did. Now, apart from the wisdom which he now began to give, which later on changed the entire judiciary systems and so forth, and helping Moses, bringing the techniques of delegation and everything that he did, which is really enormous. What I like the most is how he presented his case. Mind you, Yitro was also a Gentile. And there are some of us today who say, what can I do? I'm just a Gentile. This is about Israel, the God of Israel, the people of Israel, the book of Israel, everything. No. You can do something so long you are moved by God and you have the right intention with you. And that's exactly what actually we find Yitro doing here. So my major concern is how he did it, or how he presented his case, and that really is a lesson on its own. So now you may find about 3 groups of people automatically emerge from this. There is that kind of people who say, I'm just nobody, I'm just a Gentile, what can I do? And by so thinking, they decided to even quit, and before they even start, they quit and they do nothing at home. Then there's another group of people who now actually say, let me go and correct what is happening, or let me go and bring my own ideas to whatever is happening. Now the idea may be good or bad without being tested, we don't know yet. But the problem with this group of people is how they present the idea. And unfortunately, some of them, they tend to cause so much harm even to the recipient of these ideas. And unfortunately, when something is presented like that, it does not sit out well. Imagine if Yitro had come and said, no, Moses, I know this work. Let me show you. Do A, B, C, D. It would have turned out very wrong. But the way he did it was more like suggesting an alternative. And eventually everyone who heard this actually resonate among themselves and say, wow, this is actually the best. And eventually we see this idea implemented throughout Israel, not just in the wilderness. Even to this very day, the Yitro principle is still being used among our people, and many other people have actually adopted it. Now, the last thing which I like to mention is how, or the other group, the third group of people, is the way they present whatever they want to present. They will do it in a way which is harmonized, and also in a way which is suggestive. Therefore, they don't seek to enter into unnecessary quarrels. And that's exactly what Yitro did, which should serve as a lesson to you and me today, to say, no matter how good the idea is, the way you present it actually matters the most. And finally, Yitro was a Gentile, like I said. No matter who you are, God can still use you, not just where you are, but use you even among his people. And the condition for that is actually your heart. The reason why Yitro was used by God to this extent, to the point that his method became actually the foundation of governance, not only in Israel, but in most countries today actually. But let's just give Israel as an example. It is because God saw that the motive which Yitro had was for the betterment of his people. And if it is for the betterment of his people, it means it is for the betterment of his kingdom. So God can still use anyone, no matter your background. You might be a Jew, you might be an Israelite or an Israeli, or you might be a Gentile. God can still use you, no matter your background or no matter who you are, so long your heart and your motive is for the betterment of the kingdom. A very interesting guy we find, this father-in-law to Moses. A lot can be learned from him, as we shall see throughout the Torah portion. Thank you and shalom.